If you grew up in Los Angeles or spent any time cruising downtown, then you've definitely seen the Sixth Street Viaduct, or at least what used to be the Sixth Street Viaduct. It was one of those rare LA landmarks that meant something to almost everyone. For drivers, it was a vital connection between Boyle Heights and the downtown core. For artists and filmmakers, it was an instantly recognizable backdrop. For locals, it was part of the landscape, always there, arching over the LA River like a concrete spine. But one day, without warning to those outside the city's planning circles, it was suddenly closed. And shortly after, it was demolished entirely. No slow phase-out, no long goodbye. One of the city's most iconic structures was gone, and people were left wondering, why? To understand what really happened, you have to go back nearly a century. The original Sixth Street Viaduct was completed in 1932 as part of a larger effort to modernize LA's infrastructure during the Great Depression. It was a time when civic projects weren't just about transportation, they were about giving people jobs and hope. This bridge wasn't some simple slab of concrete. It was grand, stretching nearly 3,500 feet in length, with soaring twin arches that cut a dramatic silhouette across the skyline. It wasn't just the longest bridge in the city, it was the one that felt the most cinematic. And that's not a metaphor. Directors knew exactly how good it looked. You could spot it in films like Grease, Terminator 2, and Drive. It showed up in music videos, skateboarding reels, car commercials, and street art. In LA, where the line between reality and performance is razor thin, the Sixth Street Viaduct became a symbol of the city itself. But underneath all the concrete and steel, something was seriously wrong, and had been wrong from the very beginning. When the bridge was built in 1932, the engineers used a concrete mixture that, at the time, seemed like a standard choice. What they didn't realize was that the specific aggregates in the concrete were chemically unstable. Over time, those materials triggered a condition known as alkali-silica reaction, or ASR. Locals who heard about it started calling it concrete cancer. And honestly, that's not far off. This condition causes the silica in the concrete to react with alkalis in water, creating a gel that expands and cracks the structure from the inside out. It's slow, it's sneaky, and it's completely unstoppable once it begins. By the time it was discovered in the 1950s, the bridge's fate was already sealed. Fast forward to the early 2000s. Engineers had been monitoring the bridge for decades, and the news wasn't good. It wasn't just about wear and tear anymore. This wasn't the kind of damage you could fix with a patch job or a fresh coat of sealant. The concrete was disintegrating at a microscopic level, and it was only a matter of time before the damage became catastrophic. A structural study in 2004 revealed the terrifying truth. The bridge had a 70% chance of collapse in the event of a major earthquake. 70%. And this is LA, the most seismically active urban area in the country. The city couldn't afford to gamble, not with tens of thousands of cars crossing it every day, not with freight trains running below, not with families and businesses on either side of the viaduct depending on it. The decision wasn't easy. You don't just knock down a bridge that iconic without a fight. There were protests, petitions. Preservationists argued that the Sixth Street Viaduct should be saved, not scrapped. But the city made its case. No matter how beloved it was, the structure posed a real and immediate danger. In 2016, the bridge was permanently closed to the public. But LA, being LA, didn't let it go quietly. The city actually held a farewell festival to honor it. People gathered by the thousands to say goodbye. Food trucks lined the perimeter. Artists projected images on its massive pillars. DJs played nostalgic music under the arches. For a brief moment, a dying bridge became a community celebration. Then came the demolition. And this was no ordinary takedown. The Sixth Street Viaduct ran over a river, multiple train lines, and dense industrial neighborhoods. That meant crews had to work carefully, cutting the bridge apart in segments. It took months, and during that time, the landscape changed day by day. LA residents watched as the familiar arches were reduced to dust and twisted rebar. For many people, it felt like losing a part of their youth, whether they'd driven across it daily or only seen it on screen. The skyline looked naked without it. But the story doesn't end with destruction, because from the very beginning, LA had a plan, not just to replace the bridge, but to reimagine it completely. the city greenlit a $588 million project to build something bold, something that reflected the LA of the future. Architect Michael Maltzahn came up with a design that was futuristic and functional: 10 sets of sweeping concrete ribbons instead of traditional arches, giving the new bridge a look that's both elegant and alien. It wasn't just a bridge, it was an event space, a public park, a monument to the city's creative spirit. They added bike lanes, pedestrian walkways, and even a 12-acre green space beneath the span. It was everything the old bridge wasn't: interactive, community-focused, and earthquake-proof. Of course, it's LA, so even the opening of the new bridge didn't go as planned. It opened to fanfare in 2022, and within days, it became a magnet for chaos. Social media influencers filmed themselves doing donuts in the middle of the lanes. People climbed the arches for selfies. Street racers shut down traffic to do stunts. The LAPD had to shut the bridge down multiple times. The city added fences, speed bumps, even cameras. Some people called it a failure, but others argued it was proof that the bridge mattered, that it had already become part of LA's story. The fact that people couldn't stay away said something. And that brings us back to the question, why was this once busy bridge suddenly closed forever? The truth is, it wasn't sudden at all. It was decades in the making. A mix of flawed 1930s engineering, aggressive urban growth, and LA's ever-present earthquake threat made it a ticking time bomb. The city had no choice but to act. But what makes the story so uniquely LA is how it turned that loss into something new. It didn't just replace the old bridge, it built something that tried to live up to the original while offering something more, safer, stronger, more connected. The old bridge is gone, but its shadow still stretches across the river, and its legacy lives on in every car that crosses the new viaduct, in every film that still cuts to those old sweeping arches, and in every local who still calls it the Sixth Street Bridge, no matter how new or shiny it looks now.